Hello friends, this is Tisha from Meadows and Mortar by Tisha, and today I'm going to show you what I did with this old wooden bread box and how I updated it for my stepmother. So the first thing that you want to do after you give it a good scrub down is you want to apply a good primer. So this is an old oak bread box and it has this dark stain on it, and I know just from experience that this is going to bleed through if I don't prime it well. So I used 2 coats of primer on this, and I'm using Paint Couture's 2-in-1 primer, and I'm using it in the color gray, but they have a clear, they have a white, and they have the gray, so you can use whichever one that you prefer. Now with this one, I like to do 2 coats with it, and you just saw me do 1 coat on there, but I actually do 2 to get a good even coverage. After that's all nice and dry, I take my DOS air dry clay and then I put it into those molds after I dust it with some cornstarch, and I just make some molds for some shapes that I'm wanting on there. I have some twigs, I have some leaves, I have some flowers, and then I use some Titebond Quick and Thick. That's just a really good thick glue that I like to use on my furniture projects. I lay them all out, decide where I'm going to place them, and then I glue them up there. So I'm using Basil and Autumn Sage from Couture Paint. Now the main color of this is going to be in the basil, but then you'll see on the very front on the rolly part I use some of the Autumn Sage in the middle, and I just blend that in with the darker color on the outside of it, and that's just going to give it a little bit of a glowy effect. It's going to make it to where it's not so one-dimensional. It's going to give it just sort of a highlight, and it's going to pull your eye in more towards the middle of the piece. It's very subtle, these colors are very close together, but it just gives it a nice little finish to it. Now because of the next step that I'm getting ready to do, I'm going to need to put some Extreme Guard over top of just this top little section. There will be a time later on in the video where I come in and I put it over the rest of my piece, but I'm just wanting to focus on the detailed areas back here in the back where those molds are at. And you'll see why in just a second. But I want to make sure that I get it into all of those little nooks and crannies. I want to make sure that it's getting into the whole of the flowers really well. And I end up doing it at the flat part of the bottom as well, just in case the product that I'm getting ready to use flows over onto that. I want to make sure that it's all really good and protected. Now Paint Couture makes other kinds of top coats as well, but I find that the Extreme Guard is just perfect for what I like to do. It is so durable and I really like to use it. My stepmom loves wildflowers. So fun story, back whenever ICQ first came out, if that is telling my age any, my stepmom had an ICQ handle and it only had 4 numbers to it. So you know, with your ICQ handle, whenever you got your number, it was like a million numbers long. But she was one of the first people that ever used it, and she had like the shortest number on there. And her handle was wildflowers something another. So this was like back in the 90s whenever this very first came out. So she has always had a love for wildflowers. Whenever my dad asked me what I wanted to put on this, I told him, you know, hey, I think I'm going to do a sage green because she's always loved that color, and I think I want to do wildflowers because obviously it's Elaine. So I just chose this IOD Transfer. I don't remember what the name of it is, but I showed a picture at the front of it if you want to scroll back to look at what it was. And then I just go through and I picked out which wildflowers that I thought would work on this. Now, where this isn't all one big sheet of transfer, I kind of have to place it however I'm wanting. Which I really like. I like to piece together my own transfers instead of it having been pre-built for me. So you saw that I just take the back of the transfer off, I lay it onto the front of the piece, and then I use that little plastic stick, and then you just rub it on there. That's also called burnishing. So you just want to burnish that on there really well, and then you pull that protective coating off. Then you'll see me take my fingers and then just rub across it one more time just to make sure that it's all seated on there nice and well. Now what you can't see where this is in fast motion is I just take my fingernails in between those slats just to make sure that it's nice and settled down inside of there as well. Now remember, whenever I put my Extreme Guard on, this is why. So I'm taking that Sloan, that black wax, and I was wanting it to just kind of highlight the edges of those flowers. Now the rest of the box, I wanted it to really settle in and give us like a good deep smudgy effect. So that's why I did not sealed the bottom part of it. I just sealed up there where the flowers are. And you just want to take this and put it anywhere that there's going to be finger wear, anywhere that you're wanting it to look dirty. Once you get it on there, then you just take a microfiber cloth and then you just buff it back. Now, I know that everybody says wax is last, and yes, technically wax is supposed to be last, but I use so little of the product and I buff it away so much that I do not find that there's a problem if I put my top coat over top of it. That being said, that's not what the manufacturer says to do, so you do with that whatever you want to do, or you can be a rebel and do it like me, but I've been doing this for years and I've never had any problems with it. And if you fancy being a rebel like me and doing things out of order and you would like to see more content, then please make sure that you like this, that you comment, and you subscribe to my page so that you can see more of the stuff that I do and I can give you more content. You can see all of the furniture and decor that I like to zhuzh up a little bit. Don't kill me, guys, but I forgot to push record on one part. I took a little bit of clear wax and I put it over top of all of those flowers. And then after that is whenever I started this mica powder. There are a million different brands of mica powder out there. I have all kinds on hand in my workshop. You use whatever you want. Paint Couture makes some beautifully pigmented mica powders. I was wanting to go for a little bit of a more subtle look, so I used some just that I had got from craft stores, and then I just mush it into where I had that clear wax, and that clear wax is going to hold that color in and that shine. After that, you can see right here on the edges of it, I'm just taking a little bit of gilding waxes and I'm just rubbing it just to give it a little bit of shimmer over top of the edges. Just anywhere that I want that light to kind of shine and hit it is where I put that. Now, to be able to tie in my knob here with the rest of it, after I put my knob on, then I take that same color gilding wax that I used on the edges of it, and then I just lightly hit the edges of that knob as well, so that it all really goes and ties in together. And that knob was just something that I had in my stash. I keep every piece of hardware that I take off of a piece of furniture because you never know when you're going to need it. And I thought that that flower pattern would look perfect with this. And I'm very pleased with how it all looks. And you can see the subtle shimmer that that mica powder gave. You can see those transfers, that beautiful green. It just has that little bit of glow right in the middle of it where I blended those two colors together. And I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. And don't forget what it looks like before. And guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you all next time.